What do you...
And he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host of the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the yard streams. I am joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
How we doing on this
We're
fine-ass Friday?
It is.
Not on Thursday, because you went, say her name, and she disappears.
That is true. If I hear my name, I'll probably run the other way.
What? Go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you had your event last night. I hope it was great. And, we're here on Fantastic Friday. We got Smackdown in like 45 minutes for us here on the East Coast. And a bunch of wrestling shit has gone down. Some breaking news that has gone down. WWE has released talent.
Mm-hmm.
It is official. Per Fightful, that WWE have released a bunch of names. I'm not going to name them now because we're going to talk about it. Along with
I already
other
put it in
shit.
the chat, but yeah.
Huh? Oh, people,
I already
yeah.
put it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you put it in the chat, and people are talking about it in the chat. They're talking about it on social media, so we're going to talk about it here. And we got to talk about WrestleMania World.
Another one was just added.
Who?
Gigi Dolan.
Oh, she'll go to TNA.
Well, she was literally just in a tag team title match.
I don't know.
Whatever.
That sucks. I did like Gigi, and that sucks for Tate and Paxley because I like them
next.
together. Whoa. See,
we don't know yet.
It's the worst part about the business is this time, these sort of actions of releases and whatnot. So it's not the fun part of the business after we just had the most fun aspect of the business. You have to have some bad shit happen. So, we're going to be talking about some bad shit, but let's also talk about some good shit. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. We do have to hear from the peeps in the chat. Sophia, happy belated birthday. 25, got an OTC shirt.
Happy birthday. I've been having to fight so hard to not go on another WWE shopping spree. I have to say. Tough. It's been really tough. Well, yeah, because when I got back, I ordered my nephew a Penta shirt because they didn't have a variety of kids shirts at the Superstore, which I was really
that.
Yeah, it was basically, and I'm not saying that they had bad options per se, but it was like Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, or John Cena. That was all of the
kids ones.
Yeah, but I mean, your kid has to be a fan of one of them, and
most likely not though.
Yeah, I mean, not really, but my nephew didn't want any of those, or I didn't. He might want a Cody shirt, but I didn't love the ones they had, so I was like, I'll get you a Penta shirt because he loves Penta, and I got myself the brawling buddy of Scott Hall from the NWO.
Send me that picture.
Yeah, so I'm having a hard time not buying more. That's the problem.
I just wish they had more variety in what they had at WWE World.
Yeah.
Like,
For how big the
budget or
store
not.
is, like,
Yeah, like all right, this is the way I gauge it now is I need to wear something when I go out to the bar or whatnot that just doesn't scream, WWE or wrestling. I don't want it
mhm,
to be like a distractor type of thing where it's like, oh, like just colors, whatever. Like I want something like this where it's it's wrestling, but it's going along with the theme or whatnot, or it's like small enough. Just like
mhm,
some, I don't know. I'm not a big, it's just that's kind of me with everything now.
mhm.
Uh in what I wear, I don't like the big logos anymore as
Yeah.
I wear the giant Yeet sweatshirt, but we're not outside the shenanigans shack. Yeah, we're moving on. 41 alien technology. All right. I don't know what 40 means. Sup, bad guy? How we doing? David, what's popping, my dude? Good to see you. Oh yeah. Hey, Squirrel. Squirrel letting us know. What's up, Bernard? Hope you're doing well on your in the man league right now. Got the first win, Sarah. We got the first win of the year.
Ooh.
And that's not the only nonsense going on because you and I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we team with CM Punk in the My Rise story,
Hmm.
and that motherfucker betrayed you.
Of course he did. It's
You
CM Punk. It's
in the
because I just started to give him some praise
exactly. That's the thing.
and he had to betray me to be like, no, bitch, get back to that old mentality of hating me. Okay.
And the worst part is he took my spot in the match. So he rocked. He DJ'd me. Hit me
Very
with the
rude.
old Dwayne Johnson.
Bald fraud.
That sounded okay. Moving on. Wow is absolutely right. I know so many names. Oh, I hope not. I better not see Lola Vice. I really better. I don't like that. Sarah, you know what? I think he's right. You do need a Yeet shirt.
Nah.
Just
Nah.
one, like maybe like in
Nah.
tiny, like what I said, tiny
Hey,
letters.
I wore 2 Razor Ramon shirts during Mania.
You
So
did
that should be good enough, you know?
for the bad guy. It absolutely should
Yes.
be good
Yes.
enough.
Yes. And I bought a Cody shirt and a Seth shirt. That was it. I mean, that
Cool.
was it for shirts. I bought other
You know what
stuff.
sucks? I would have liked like a Kevin Owens shirt. That was the issue this year, Sarah.
Yeah, they didn't
That
have
was the
they
issue.
didn't have one.
I would have loved it because I want to buy every KO Mania shirt at one
Mm.
point, and they released the art for what the shirt was gonna be
Yeah, I
after
saw, yeah.
it was fire.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. I love the themes. Oh, like that's my guy, dude. Get well soon, KO, please. Uh, yeah. So moving on.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sarah. Be a rosebud. As it's time for Sarah and I to give our favorite and least favorite things that we saw in the Wrestleverse this week from the shows. Can be from an interview, can be a social media post, can be anything. Sarah, let's kick things off. No, with your rosebud of the week.
Well, today is the bald fraud's birthday.
Happy birthday,
And
DJ.
I appreciate how many people are not wishing him a happy birthday. I love seeing all the wrestling fans that are like, nah, F the Rock. He messed up WrestleMania 41. He's a bald fraud. And I am so here for it because last year we had to, Cody fans specifically, had to go and defend themselves for weeks. I mean, and we're still kind of defending ourselves a year later. And a lot of it was because of The Rock. Now
DJ.
we're, again, like I said, a year later, and now it feels like almost everybody is just like on the F The Rock train. So there's no more Cody crybabies versus, everybody else.
He's outnumbered. He's outnumbered.
Yes. And so I appreciate it because a lot of us were trying to say last year, something's off, like this guy is doing this, blah, blah, blah. And it took, I guess, another year of him proving that he is a bald fraud for people to finally catch on and be like, you know what? I don't even mess with this guy enough to wish him a happy birthday.
That's
So,
where wrestling fandom takes people. It's incredible. It's quite
well,
incredible.
but I think the thing is with somebody like The Rock, it goes beyond just being a fan of The Rock. Because we've seen so much of Dwayne Johnson over the past year with the Mania 40 buildup, the Mania 41 buildup, like, and the aftermath. We were seeing Dwayne Johnson. We were not seeing The Rock. So he's not really towing the line of like, oh, they hate me as a wrestler or they hate my wrestling character. No, you've revealed yourself in the post press conferences, the documentaries, the Pat McAfee interviews. That's not The Rock. That's Dwayne Johnson. And so I think that that's like, it goes beyond just not liking him in the wrestling sphere. So that's on him. I mean,
It's the blurred the lines. He blurred the lines way too close,
well, they're
and
not blurred anymore.
exactly that's the point. Like he
Yeah.
blurred the worlds, not the lines, but he blurred his worlds. Like he combined
Yeah.
them too much,
Mhm.
and that's what happens. You want to be involved, but you can't,
Mhm.
and you want to make this the best thing possible, but oh, I got to go shoot a movie quick. It gives off a bad taste in their mouth.
Well, but also all your ideas are not necessarily the right ideas. And that's something that
Yeah,
is like
learned
doesn't
that
and
100%.
it feels like an abuse of power because now that he's like the chairman of or whatever on
Sits on the
TKO, it's
board
like,
of TKO.
yeah, it's like you still need to be collaborative. You can't just come in and be like, I'm going to show up this week and you need to write this and then that's it and you have no long-term plan. That's not how wrestling works, dude. Like
It's too much attitude era.
it's not okay.
Everything was on the fly. That like the world has changed.
Mhm.
Wrestling world has changed completely, and it's someone who's kind of being left behind in that
Mhm.
mindset. It's thinking
Yep.
more business forward, and that's great. But wrestling fans are a different breed. I tell people this
But
all the time that you can't like the people that you're calling out technically are the ones that are buying your shit. And if you're pissing them off, they're not gonna be buying your shit anymore.
well, I think the biggest issue is that he's not thinking long term. And like we were just saying, that's not how wrestling is anymore. You can't just show up this week, do something, kind of hint at something that's going to happen and then never do it. That's not the wrestling sphere that we're in anymore, at least in WWE. So it's like he cares about the temporary satisfaction of the pop he gets when his music hits, or oh my god, whatever reaction he gets from this segment or him doing this. But then we never get the satisfaction of seeing it play out because he only cares about the ego boost that he gets on SmackDown for showing up, and it's like you can't keep doing that because people are going to start to get sick of it. It's not going to just be the Cody crybabies anymore. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a while for him to be a baby face in the eyes of the fans again because of what he's doing. Like, the reason they booed you last year was because you were taking that match from Cody, but there was still a huge section of people that were like, no, I actually do want to see Roman versus Rock. I don't care about this Cody Rhodes storyline. You're losing those people now because of what happened between the Rumble and Mania. Those are not going to be people that are going to cheer for you. And now you're going to come out and you're going to get natural heat because people don't fuck with you anymore. Because how can they believe what you're saying? How can they buy into what you're trying to sell them? How can they buy into this storyline that you're trying to act like is going to happen when we've been shown time and time again over the past year that we don't know when you're going to show up next, and you're more than likely not going to get us to the end of whatever you're teasing now.
You're
So
losing the trust in fans. You're losing the trust in the fans. That's
yeah,
the biggest issue with this.
yeah.
Nope. Yeah. My Rosebud of the Week just happened recently. I mentioned it, social media post. I was going to mention the CVV interviews that I've been listening to. Incredible. I've learned so much about Eric of the War Raiders and how they actually like the War Raiders and how the Viking experience was only a 6-day experience, but 6 days way too long. Becky Lynch posted a video on Instagram, at least I saw it on Instagram, calling out the WWE social teams for taking her down and not putting, giving her the light,
It's
spotlight,
because they're not
whatever.
tagging her
Not
in
tagging
social
her
posts.
and it's an 8-slide post, and you scroll, and it's just aspect at times when the video that pops up is either Becky cut out, Becky not in it. It's posted at Lyra looking up at Becky Lynch. It's the poster for the Backlash match. And then it ends with just an Irish jig. And the people telling them to like F off. Like it's little stuff like that I mentioned you have to be utilizing in this day and age with your gimmick. Are these little social media posts, taking what you are using on television and bringing it over to social media to get that fan back or get that person to just tune into you, so that more likely there's a more likely chance that they're going to tune into Raw. I think like that's brilliant, and that's why Becky Lynch remains a GOAT in my eyes for shit like that.
I agree. I don't have anything.
Yeah, I feel like you didn't have a lot of nothing really to.
No, because I love Becky. So
did you saw the post? Did you see the video at the end of it?
No, I didn't scroll.
Oh, you got the video at the end of it's hilarious. Oh, all right. Nope, I don't want to talk. I just talked. Time for you, Sarah. What did you not like this week?
I don't love that Roman Reigns is not going to be on WWE programming again until next month.
Where are we hearing this?
Online.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the current rumor. It's like Cody Rhodes apparently isn't going to be on for another 2 weeks. That's his next featured date is the 16th, which makes sense. He'll miss Backlash. That makes sense. But Roman is also supposed to be off TV until June, and I was getting into like conversations about this with fans online because I was saying like we're talking about bad patterns in WWE. Like I was just talking about The Rock and how that's not okay. What Roman does is also not okay. Like I don't care what people are saying because people are immediately clapping back at me and being like, he wants to spend time with his family. What wrestler who has a family doesn't want to spend time with their family? That's not an excuse for Roman to just like constantly take time off. That's not a thing. Or he's always dealing with this cancer. Okay, he's been a wrestler for years since he dealt with the cancer re-diagnosis. That can't be something that we're still talking about like 8 years later. Like that is going to be something that he'll deal with, but like we can't say that that's why he's on a part-time schedule when he hasn't been on a part-time schedule the entire time since he made that announcement. Like that doesn't make any sense. The problem that I have is that he always leaves at the height of a storyline. Like we just saw Paul Heyman turn on him at Mania. He turned on CM Punk as well. Roman now leaves. Like, I know that there might not be an immediate involvement for Roman because we don't know where this storyline is going, but he derails storylines by dipping immediately after. It's the same thing that happened last year when he lost the title at Mania and then he left and it was like, okay, whatever. Like, I guess at first it was fine because they want to try and build up Solo, right? As like the next tribal chief. Yeah. We don't see him for another 3-4 months. I'm like, that's kind of what derailed the entire thing. That's why the Bloodline story became so boring because Roman just decides to show up in August or September or whatever. And it's like, I just don't get it. I know that it's not necessarily like his call because everyone's like, you can't say that it's Roman's decision. Well, I feel like he has enough pull that, yeah, he's deciding when he takes time off and when he doesn't. But I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me because I feel like we're not seeing enough from him when there are plenty of stories that they could be going with right now and he could be involved. So it's like, I'm bummed that we're not even going to get something at Backlash. We very easily could have gotten like Roman and Punk versus Seth and Braun, because that would be a WrestleMania Backlash style match, but we can't do it because Roman's taking time off again. It's like, it just gets frustrating, and my goat would never. So
I have nothing to add.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But see,
I
like the
thought
bad
that
guy
was the
says, I was
plan
hoping.
I thought that was the plan for. Oh no, it's Sami Zayn. That's right. It
So
would be
that's why
Sami
it's like,
Zayn and Sami Zayn and see who's what's. I thought I heard the tag match at Backlash was going to be Roman and Punk versus Braun and Seth. I thought I heard that.
no, that was an idea that people thought was going to happen, but Roman's not supposed to be back. So, I mean, next week is the go home show. So, unless he decides to show up next SmackDown, I don't know how they make it an official match.
Well, might be CM Punk and Sami Zayn then.
But like, that's so stupid though, because like,
But I mean, what else Sami Zayn going to do then?
they don't have to have him at Backlash. Why do they have to have him at Backlash?
But he's now the first victim of this new Seth.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I don't like that. That feels way too soon. And why would he team up with? I don't know. I don't like it.
That's why I don't care about Roman being off television for a while. Just like bring him around. Like there's other people that need to be spotlighted.
That's fine, but you also can't involve yourself in these big time storylines and then dip.
Because what if the storyline's not over?
We have no. But he's taking off like 6 weeks. For what?
Maybe there's. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think there's any excuse for it. We can't be like, oh, he needs to spend time with his family. He has 5 kids. Well, then stop having kids. Like that. You had a bunch of kids. That's fine. But like, you knew that you were a full-time wrestler. Like you were a champion at the time. It's like, you can't just, I don't know. I don't feel like he should have as much control over his schedule as it seems like he does, because it does harm to what we're watching as fans. Like, I'm not the biggest Roman fan, so I'm not sitting there complaining that I'm not going to see him because I want to see him wrestle so bad. It's more so of the impact that it has negatively on stories that he's involved in that I have an issue with, and I don't like it. That's the problem.
Okay. What is my lemon of the week? I'm trying to think, Sarah, because there's not a lot of things that I complain about in the wrestling world, as we've talked about on and off camera. I'm going to use my lemon for the WWE World Shop, because we are going to talk about WWE World today. I hated it. I hated that there's just nothing. That's it. Like, I would have liked to buy, I just didn't. There's nothing good.
There wasn't nothing.
No, excuse me. Yes, there was nothing.
You went into it not wanting to buy anything. Also,
not wanting to buy anything, but I wanted to buy something that I would wear consistently.
Yeah,
like,
but
I want to
that's not really wrestling shirts in general. There's not. It's like you really have to dig for them to be like not super wrestling involved.
No, not even that. No, because like the thing is, I wear my LWO shirt out sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll wear like someone's logo that I forget. Like, oh, the Full Horseman. Well, no, whatever. Point is, I will wear those when I go out, but it's because like, oh, I want to wear it. That's cool. I didn't have that feeling with the majority of stuff that I saw. So. That's just me.
I think that there were some good shirts, but I don't wear a lot of wrestling shirts. So sometimes I'm like, I kind of want to get ones that are like super oversized, because then I can just wear them like even as pajama shirts or just like with bike shorts or whatever. But they're not cheap either. And they're more expensive at the Superstore. They're like $40. So it's like, you want to be choosy. And I had already bought a ton of cards, and I bought a weight belt So it was like, I don't know
Mhm.
that I need to spend another, a few hundred on shirts.
Yeah. All right. Comments here. Oh, that's a good question. All right, we'll start with where is it? Well, I want to get. Oh, let me make a banner for it. And yeah. All right, let's do that. WWE has announced releases at the top. It was literally as we hopped in here at the top of the hour that they have released Braun Strowman. Let me get the list up here.
Shayna Baszler,
Thank you.
Dakota Kai, Kaden and Katana, Cora Jade, and Eddie Thorpe, and Gigi
Eddie
Dolan.
Thorpe and Gigi Dolan.
Mm-hmm.
So that sucks. Releases are the worst part of wrestling. No one wants to see one of their favorite superstars or just any human lose their job. So yeah, that sucks. And
Well, the rumor also is that they weren't necessarily all released. The details haven't been out there, but there's a good chance that some of them just did not have their contracts renewed. So, there's that. I feel like most of them are going to be fine. Like I think the only ones that might be a little bit questionable is like Eddie Thorpe might have like I don't see
I
him
couldn't
being
connect with Eddie Thorpe.
super targeted by a wrestling company, but I'm sure a lot of them will end up in TNA, especially the girls that were in NXT and had already shown up in TNA. It just makes sense for like Gigi to be there, or
Riley Osborne also announced as
oh
well.
yeah,
Released.
and like
Like
Cora can be in TNA. Like I think those are just going to be easy transitions. Braun, I think he'll go somewhere if he wants to. Dakota will probably go somewhere. I think it just depends on what they're looking for. I
That
don't
guy thinks
know.
Dakota's going to AEW.
Maybe. I don't know. Again, it depends on what they're looking for, because I feel like they might be better utilized in TNA than AEW. But
Yeah, what do you think about AEW scooping up some of these peeps?
I don't. I mean, I think they'll try, but none of them are like needle movers necessarily. And a lot of what AEW has tried to do in the past with those that they have signed that were in WWE, that they wanted them to be like former or like potential big stars. And I don't see that with any of these people at that caliber, like right now or necessarily in the future. Like I think Dakota is great, and I feel like her ceiling in WWE was probably just being a mid-card champion. Just based off of what we've seen with how the women's division is going, I just did not think that she would be a women's champion, at least for a long time. As based on who they have in the division right now on the main roster and who's going to be called up, it was just going to be pushing her further down the line. So like I don't know that any of them will be heavily pursued by AEW necessarily. I could see maybe Braun Strowman being somebody that they would want to
That'd be
bring
an
over there.
attraction. I could
And
just
that's
see AEW.
why, but
He's
like
an attraction.
the others, if they want to be involved in something similar to WWE, TNA feels like the better place because they do more storyline stuff there. They've also seen how, let's say, for example, Joe Hendry, how he's exploded on the scene over the past year. It's like that is a big indication of what can happen with your career if you go to TNA, and you don't even have to be a top guy necessarily, but you can explode because your fans love.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
You said
Like
his name.
That could certainly happen for one of them. So I would say my guess is more of them will go to TNA.
I do see Dakota Kai doing well in AEW. Dakota Kai could do really well in AEW. Look at what Ricochet has done. I mean, he's one of the better heels right now in AEW, not because of his villainous ways like a Christian or something, but he's a dick. He's just an
Yeah.
asshole that you just want to hate, but he's so good at it. And he's embraced the bald. Embrace the bald,
I
Sara.
think Hayden and Katana are the ones that are going to have the trickiest future.
That'll
Just
be tough.
because it feels like nobody prioritizes women's tag teams. And that's been something we've talked about so many times about how it doesn't really make any sense. But it seems like every wrestling company just wants to push women individually. So when you thrive in a tag team, it's going to be really difficult for you to land somewhere that will want to keep you as a tag team or will even like put you on TV or something. And I think that's sad because I think Kaden and Katana are a prime example of how great women's tag team wrestling can be, but they just don't view women tag teams the same way that they view men's tag teams. So it just feels like there needs to be some sort of drastic change in professional wrestling to have that be something that they don't try and split up constantly, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah. And then the thing with women's tag teams, you're not going to AEW for that. They're still building their women's division.
Mm-hmm.
Your best bet is TNA. And to be honest, they would kind of thrive in TNA.
Well, that's why I feel like most of them will probably go there.
I don't think AJ Styles is going to AEW soon. I don't think he will.
Why are we talking about AJ Styles? Oh, I was like, no.
Boom. No.
I was like, he wasn't released.
No, that is not a signing that we'll see from AEW soon. Probably one of the people we just talked about.
I think he'll retire in WWE.
I think he will too. Are you becoming a fan of AEW? This could be quick. I just want to give an update.
I mean, I haven't watched it since I got back, but I mean, I can try next week or tomorrow, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like the episode of Dynamite that I watched was like the best one that I probably could have watched in recent weeks, because of just like how good it was from top to bottom. So yeah, it might be something where maybe I don't watch it every single week or I don't love it every single week, but I might like try to check it out. You know,
it's good you did not watch this week. Not because of it was bad or anything happened like that way, but it was just matches. So unless you want to just watch straight up matches and good wrestling, then yeah, this was a great week for it. Like the Young Bucks, it was a very indie show on television, which is great for that audience. It was really good. I liked a lot of spots, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. And your type of fandom, you want the story, you want something.
Well, not necessarily. I feel like it actually is beneficial to somebody who is just a casual viewer, because then they don't really need to get caught up with what is happening or how we got here. You know what I mean? Like, because I think sometimes if you're just a casual viewer of WWE, you're not going to understand why these wrestlers hate each other or why are they saying this or why is this happening, because it's like you haven't been here to watch the 6 months of storyline that got there. So because AEW isn't the best at that, or they don't necessarily prioritize that, it can kind of make it easier for a casual wrestling fan to just tune in and be like, oh, okay, that was cool. You don't really need to know, why is it a big deal that this dude is joining Don Callis? It's like, oh, we're not supposed to like this guy, so I'm going to boo him or whatever, but you don't need to know everything, because you're like, oh, we see this is a big deal. But like, you didn't need to be informed of everything that led to it, because there wasn't necessarily anything that led to it.
Do you remember that guy we sat with the entire 3 days that he's watched WWE in chronological order?
Yes.
He's gone back. So he has gone back. I forget how long. At least I think since episode 1. I'm not even kidding.
Another release.
Okay. Well, after the story.
Okay.
He watched every single episode of WWE programming in chronological order and only goes to the live events because catch up. And he just got to the pandemic. Like, Retribution isn't even a thing.
Yeah, no, I remember he hadn't even seen like Io Sky return and whatever. He doesn't know Io Sky because she was still Io Shirai.
Yeah, like he goes to live events, he goes to Mania every year, so like he knows what's going on and keeps up on social media. But when it comes to like watching it, we'll say like in the MCU, to anyone who's a
Mhm.
Marvel fan. Like, yeah, he does not. Io Shirai is exactly. So, all right. What's the release?
Jakara Jackson.
Oh, that sucks.
They just broke up Metaphor. It's like, is that why? Because you knew you were gonna release her? That's fucked.
Oh, they're gonna make Lash the star then.
Well, they broke up Metaphor, so
Yeah, Noam Dar's alone.
yeah, but
that
that
sucks.
seems like they did that because they were anticipating releasing her, and they didn't tell her.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's not a casual. All right, yeah, that sucks. Oh, releases suck.
So many women. I think that's kind of.
Well, someone said in the chat, do you think they're trying to throw the bag at Mariah May?
No, they don't need to be releasing girls to do that. I think they'll
We
probably
don't.
throw the bag at her, but I don't think that they needed to release
Yeah, that's not a
anybody to
cause
do
to
that. No. I think that like this is the thing. I don't hate most of the people they released. Like, I don't think that every single one of them was a bad idea. I do question
No,
Dakota
yeah.
Kai, but I do feel like they weren't using Shayna and they tried to use her in so many different ways and it just didn't work. And I'm not saying that that's her fault. I'm not saying that like it's their fault. Something just wasn't clicking. Same thing with like Hayden and Katana were not being used. So it's like in certain aspects, yeah, it sucks. I feel for them. Like, I'm not going to say that it's like I'm happy that somebody lost their job. But at the same time, now they're in control of their future. Now they can go where they want to go. Now, hopefully, they can go to a company that will put them on TV and will allow them to like fulfill their dreams and whatever they want to do in their career. To me, that's better for them than them sitting in the back and catering every single week. Like, that sucks for them more, I feel like, than being fired and now being able to go somewhere else, like, so that's the thing is like, I'm trying to think about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, good news, Liv Morgan got cast in Hollywood film Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. It's a really big director. So she will be taking time off of television
They
up to a
said it'll
month.
only be like May.
Yeah, it's a month. What do you mean May? We're in May.
Yeah, and the rumor is that they will not be taking the tag titles off of her and Raquel.
Just fine. They need to fix the women's tag division. I'm sorry.
They just released another prime tag team that they could have like feuded with. So like
it's
fine.
Fine.
There's other stuff going on with the Judgment Day right now. So like they can do that, like it's whatever. No one even really cares about women's tag team wrestling at this point. So anyone like complaining about it, I feel like they're just jumping on the bandwagon of like wanting to be upset about something that they generally don't really care about.
Exactly.
The bigger problem is having Liv off TV. I think that's the problem because Liv has been like carrying the women's division on Raw.
That's what they're going to be doing with Becky and Lyra. That's going to be the story that carries the division right now. It's a big moment for Lyra. Yeah. Intercontinental. They're showcasing the women's Intercontinental title.
I know, and people need to get prepared for Becky to win it at some point. But the whole point is supposed to be Lyra's comeback story of finally beating Becky, and like
that's how you legitimize it.
I know, peeps. But I'm just saying because
I'm mentioning the peeps, not you.
I was arguing
with
somebody in the comment section because they were calling her Becky Hogan, and I'm like, no, saying that she's exactly the same as Charlotte.
It's more Mercedes Hogan.
And I was like, it's not. It's not the same. Becky is not Charlotte. I'm sorry. And that's the thing. You could, like you said, you could say it about Mercedes, who has 4 fucking titles.
She's the belt collector, baby.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, Becky has consistently been putting girls over. So, and then there was somebody who said that, like, oh yeah, that's what she was doing, but like, look at what happened to those girls afterwards. I'm like, that's not on Becky though. No. That like she will put like she's the reason, and I'm not saying she's the only reason, but she's a big reason why Tiffany was brought up to the main roster when she was, because of her matches with Becky in NXT for the NXT Women's Championship. So I expect for her to do some good work with Lyra because she has a personal relationship with Lyra. She genuinely cares about Lyra. So like, I don't think that Becky would try to do anything that would intentionally harm Lyra's rise in WWE. I don't see that. at all.
No, I don't see that at all. Like, this is all to help Lyra.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Like,
Yeah.
see the bigger picture, peeps.
Yeah.
All right. WWE World. What do we think? What do we think about it?
I definitely feel like the space was better this year. I felt like it was bigger than last year. So like that was nice because it didn't feel like as crowded just like walking around or whatever. Like I feel like it was easier to identify where things were. Like it felt a little more organized, I guess. I wasn't thrilled with the store. Like, yeah, it was spaced out, so it didn't necessarily feel crowded, but like sometimes the lines were ridiculous.
The lines this year were insanity.
And
Absolute insanity.
I also didn't necessarily love the selection of like shirts necessarily, just because I feel like they had a lot of like specific wrestlers, and it's like I get it, those might be the most popular ones, but also like why is there only 2 Seth Rollins shirts? Like that was weird to me, you know. And then they had like a whole wall dedicated to like Triple H, you know, and I'm just like, okay, I get it, but also can you get more stuff for other people? Like it's not whatever.
I would like more WrestleMania. I think that's the other thing that I didn't like too, is that I would have liked more styles of the hat I have with the old WrestleMania logo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would have liked a section of old, like older logos from WrestleMania and different apparel with that. But
Mm-hmm. I do wish their section for memorabilia, which is like the most expensive stuff, that section needed to be way bigger. Like, because it was so small, and I get it. They know that one, you don't want to have a ton of people over there because it is your most expensive merchandise, but having it be so small so that when you are over there, you can barely get around because people are bumping into each other. I don't like that. Like that was crazy. Also didn't love that they only had cards one day. Like I get they probably sold out, but like how did you not have enough cards to have more than one day of selling cards? That was kind of lame.
That was insane. They said, "Oh yeah, they'll be stocked." I went.
They said they would be back the next day,
and they weren't.
Because then they were like limiting people. They were like, you can only buy one of these per customer, and I'm like, so technically, I could just, you know, like come through the line again, and that's fine, or what? Because then they were letting people buy a shit ton of stuff too. Like there was a limited Cena figure, and they were letting people buy like 20 of them. And then they were immediately putting them on eBay for like $300, and they were $40. So it was like, why are you allowing that to happen? But then you're saying, oh yeah, you can only buy one of these boxes per customer of cards. Like you just let somebody check out with like $1,000 worth of action figures, and you're like, cool, that's fine. Like that's no.
Problem is, it's inevitable and it sucks. So,
but they should. But you need to have rules like across the board. That's how it should be. You know.
Yeah, with that type of thing, you kind of have to plan for it, which sucks. Because people suck. People suck. I did like WWE World. I like the panels. I love the panels that they had.
It was nice that they were separated too. That like the Pat McAfee show was over here. The like Dave Cormier and the other ones were like all the way over there. So it's like
main stage. They had a main stage. They had like different sections. That was really cool. I liked a lot of the panels that went on. You know, like Seth Rollins coming out to talk about just life in general. I forget. Gunther got into it with a fan.
Was so good.
Like that is a man. Like that's the only way I can describe Gunther is he's a man.
He deserves to be a face of the company.
He's not going to. He's not. He's someone that is a face behind closed doors.
But I'm just saying, like he's so good in interviews. He's so good like in wrestling. Like it's just like he's such a well-rounded guy, and they're having him do what he's doing.
He was very good on the Cormier show, and Pat McAfee was awesome. Witnessing Monday after WrestleMania Live was just incredible.
Yeah, that stirred up a lot of controversy.
Oh my god, Paul Heyman going in on and then Cena. a different side of Cena that I have never seen. It's good. It's good. I'm trying to think of what else. I like the walk the museum. That was really cool. The fact that you could hit Dominic Mysterio or Logan Paul with a chair. That was incredible.
I did
The
enjoy
entrances.
the live entrances. Yeah, that was fun.
The live entrances were sick. And yeah, that's all I got about that. Oh, no. They had live matches during WWE World, which
Well, they
were
did that last year
incredible.
too, but
They did?
I'm
I don't remember seeing. There was
almost
no
positive.
ring. No, there was no ring in Philly. I'll tell you right now.
I'm pretty sure there was.
No, we would have saw it.
I'm okay.
I don't think so. WWE drops trademark Edge.
Who
Like
cares?
it's just like I'm just bringing this up because it makes sense.
I think that even if this wasn't a problem for him when he went to AEW, he probably still would want to go by his real name. I don't think that he would have gone to AEW and been like, I'm Edge. I think he would have gone out and been like, no, I'm 50. I'm going to be Cope. Like, I don't think this is as big of a deal as it was when they wouldn't give up Cody Rhodes and he had to go by Cody. Like, I don't think that that's the same. Like he could have gone by Runnels, but the reason he's a Rhodes is because of his dad. So it made sense for him to want to be Cody Rhodes, but
yeah. And then WWE Crown Jewel to take place in Perth this year. WWE makes their second trip or a trip back, to the land down under
in
Rhea
October.
Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller doing promotion for it.
I'm guessing that they're doing it in Perth instead of Saudi because Saudi's getting the Rumble. And so, because a lot of people are like, how does this make sense? And I'm like, well, at least it'll be a better crowd because Saudi is not a great crowd. But we're going to have to wait until October for them to do the Crown Jewel Championship too.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
I would like to keep that a thing.
And I'm kind of wondering how is that going to go? Is it like, does the person who is, I think it is like, it's just champion versus champion, right? Like it doesn't matter that Liv and Cody were the first ones to win. Like they're not defending them. They're just like, they're the crown jewel champion.
No. That's what I love about it. To me, it feels like Triple H is king of the ring.
Yeah.
This is his creation. And it's going to be champion versus champion of brand. Who is the superior champion? That's what this is.
I will just say, I hope and pray to the wrestling gods that John Cena and Jey Uso are not the champions in October, because that will be potentially one of the worst matches we've ever seen in our life. Okay. I don't
know. I maybe Cena wants some revenge for the Rumble.
That might be my second personal hell, honestly. But Io versus Tiffany, very interesting.
See, that would slap. That would be a good match.
But Jay versus John Cena, no. And that's the thing is, like, I already saw people complaining about it being Jay versus Cena, and I was like, this is the person you wanted to make world heavyweight champion, so you got to eat that shit now. Because no one would be sitting there complaining if it was Gunther versus Cena. Just saying. That was a Mania match that people were thinking
John
about.
Cena would be complaining. His chest cannot take
whatever. But you know what I'm saying? People were booking that for this year's Mania. No one would be complaining about it if we had to wait to see it until October.
We might not even see either of them as champion.
It's possible. I just hope they're both possible. I hope that they're not champions still. Like both of them are not champions still, because I do not want to see that at all.
Yep.
I hope you are right, because Seth, because this is the thing. Jay can't be a short-term champion, but he cannot be a long-term champion. Like he can't. So Seth should beat him in August. I am totally fine with that. That's enough time. He'll face off against Logan Paul. Maybe his next one will be like Grayson Waller, and then he'll lose it to Seth. Because that's a legitimate world heavyweight champion right there.
Yeah. SmackDown is set to return to 2-hour format.
At least according to the rumors online.
There's rumors. Alleged. and I could care. I'm happy about it. I like it. Yeah. It's so long. It feels like it drags.
Well, and I think that's the problem that I have, because I feel like SmackDown going to 3 hours shouldn't have been a problem. It should have been a bonus
Seamless
for them.
transition.
It should have been easy, because they have so much talent that they should have been able to utilize that third hour by putting them on TV. Like, it shouldn't feel a show like you can miss, or one that you can watch later so you can fast forward through stuff. Like, that's not how it should be. But I think at this point too, it's going to feel even slower for 3 hours when you have, Roman's not around, Cody's not around, Cena's not around every single week. Like, SmackDown is going to feel even worse when, like, your top people are not there. So that makes it more difficult for them to fill the 3 hours when you don't have your main faces on TV. So if it's going to go back to 2 hours, that's fine. But I also think that people need to remember that doesn't mean that the show is going to get any better just because it's going down to 2 hours. We were complaining about what SmackDown was like before they moved to 3 hours. So it could go back to 2 hours and be exactly the same thing as 3 hours, just an hour shorter. And that is disappointing, honestly, because they have so much talent on WWE that there's no reason for it to feel like that. There's just no reason.
We've seen the sweet spot. That's the issue. The 2.5 hour show that Triple H runs on Netflix. Seems like he knows what he's doing. Once with 2.5 hours.
Well, this week it was like closer to 3, which I think is fine because it was the post Mania Raw and whatever. Like, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
There's still a lot, and that's a difference, is that you can have that time on Netflix. You can go a little over with cable television still and USA Network. You can't.
I feel like eventually SmackDown will be on Netflix anyway. They just have to ride out this contract that they have with USA Network, and then they'll move them to, move SmackDown to.
Oh, that's inevitable.
Netflix.
This is a test run.
Because it's only not on Netflix for the US. So it feels like that's going to happen eventually. I'm kind of surprised in a way that they haven't tried to like buy out their contract with USA.
No, I don't.
I'm just saying, if you want to make the product the best that it can be, it wouldn't be a bad idea to buy it out. But if you want to maintain that relationship, I guess. But I mean, if you're paying them the money anyway, then I don't see the problem.
All right, let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. And Sarah, you bring this up because you wrote the banner.
Did you see it?
I saw that Steve Austin was pissed, but I didn't see the video because I was driving. And
he was not happy. Yeah, he was being interviewed and they were like, oh yeah, Logan said that he had asked you if you would dress up in a Prime bottle and like offered to pay you and whatever, and you said no. And you could tell that Stone Cold was like not having it. And he was been in the headlines like this past week because he is not a fan of how much access Triple H is giving fans like behind the scenes. And more people, I feel, responded in agreement with him than I was expecting. Because, I've said, we were just talking about it when we were, I think last week, or when we talked about Raw earlier this week, about how I don't love what Triple H is doing either, just showing us too much of, behind the curtain. And Stone Cold even says, like, I know I have an old school brain, like I know whatever, but I do think that he has a fair argument to be made, and this is probably why it goes along with why he was irritated with Logan Paul, because it was like, we don't need to talk about the things that were proposed or that I declined, like we don't need that. And I think it rubbed him more the wrong way because of who it was coming from, because it was Logan. And it's like, okay, Logan still has to like prove himself as one of the guys. And when you're doing this and you're involving somebody like Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's like not a great look. Like, you do not want to make a legend mad, Yeah,
that's an issue. Then it's an even bigger problem that Logan Paul likes pushing people's buttons.
Well,
and
I also
It's
just
not
wanna,
good. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying
I
that's
just
what he
want to
likes to do.
understand why he thought putting Stone Cold in a prime bottle was ever a good idea either. Like that seems like already disrespectful enough. Like why? Why
No,
would he need to do that?
100%. It doesn't. It's just his cat, like whatever
But this is what I'm
brain
telling you.
going
Logan Paul needs to
loco.
educate himself on wrestling. You need to educate yourself on wrestling and like wrestling etiquette. Like you like that's the kind of stuff that it's like it's not okay. It's not okay.
It's a moneymaker at the end of the day. Anything that'll make him money.
Well, it's
It's
not.
not wrestling brain. It's money brain.
Well, you're in WWE, so you need to have wrestling brain because you don't ask Stone Cold Steve Austin to dress up in a prime bottle. It's weird.
It is weird. I don't want to see him in a prime bottle.
No.
1, 2, 3. It's time for the 1, 2, 3 count. And I thought for the first count, little weird question, or no, I take it back. A little bit of personal question. Because I was playing WWE 2K25, and one of the parts of the story is that you save WWE archives from being burnt down.
Mm-hmm.
You were on a wild goose. I'm just gonna give you a little backstory here of the whole nonsense that happened on Twitch this past week, which is on twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network. Go check it out. We stream WWE 2K25 there. It'll be posted. The first 3 episodes are posted on this YouTube channel, full streams. So go check those out, or at least some of it, because the Bad Gal and Captain Nonsense himself team up to take down Mutiny, and Io Sky took the undisputed WWE Championship, not women's, like the WWE Championship, took it to Japan and sent us on a wild goose chase to go get it. We had to beat up some luchador named Chosen. That was weird. And we found out from his girlfriend or love interest, she wasn't really into him, that it was a replica, or she took it to Mexico. It was a replica, and that Io had it the whole time, and that she was sending us on this goose chase to go so that they could burn down WWE archives. Unsuccessful. You stole a Stone Cold Steve Austin monster truck, crashed that party, beat up Io, knocked her out, and then what else? You end up winning the undisputed WWE Championship, bring it back to the WWE. You win that, then it gets announced that Survivor Series War Games this year will be Raw and SmackDown versus the Mutiny. And to kick off the week of it, like the show before, go home show, we're going to defend the Mutiny tag team titles against JC Jane and Lexis King. Bailey enforces Freebird rules, so she takes JC Jane's place. Punk says 2 can play at that game. He takes my place. Punk in the match calls in for the tag. You guys go for a double team. He has you on his shoulders. Boom, GTS. You're knocked out. He screwed us for the Mutiny Tag Team Championships. He's part of Mutiny. And now we're back to square one with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Crazy.
It's nonsense over there. You got to go check it out because it's so fun. The storyline this year, the story mode this year is really good. But yeah, back to my original question. What would you take from the WWE archives?
The 90s.
Okay, I'm going to go with a physical thing. I'm going to take John Cena's lock in like the chain that he used to wear.
The SmackDown fist.
Imagine having a SmackDown fist in your backyard.
It'd be nice.
I would take John Cena's lock. 2, who's your WWE GOAT?
John Cena.
Okay. With all the talk of there was someone did an interview asking different WWE superstars who their GOATs were. Lot of different answers. So I thought I'd ask you. You say John Cena. I'm going with The Undertaker. The Undertaker is my GOAT. Greatest character in wrestling history. and one of the greatest minds in wrestling history too.
I say John Cena because he carried the company through like 3 eras. So,
Yeah, basically.
you know, and he was there every single week. He wrestled every single week. He was the face of the company. He sold the most merch. Like, he was doing so much because he was doing charity work, and then he was at eventually he was doing movies and was still active. It was like he did everything and was still there. And I feel like he was like the modern day Hulk Hogan in that way of like, if you saw John Cena, you knew who he was even if you didn't watch wrestling. You know what I mean? Like that. He might not have been as identifiable, obviously, because he didn't have the platinum blonde hair and the beard and whatever, but like you knew John Cena and he was a wrestler, you know? So I don't know. I think he is the GOAT. He deserves that title.
What are your thoughts on Lyra saying that Sami Zayn is her GOAT?
I mean, if that's what, I don't agree with a lot of the people who they said,
Clearly.
but I feel like this question in this video, it felt more of like who they personally felt like it was, not who they generally would say is the GOAT. Because like, no disrespect to Sami Zayn, but no one is saying Sami Zayn is the greatest of all time in WWE. It's like that's not happening. So,
and the final count, CVV posted this. Why am I on mine again? Okay, here we go. He posted this 7 wrestler theory. So it's 7 questions to gauge your wrestling fandom. I thought we'd do it here because we talk a lot about our thoughts on like the business itself, but not a lot of stuff. I mean, you do. People know who the fuck you love and who you are holding the flag for. But me, not so much. So, because you say I like everything, but maybe I don't. Maybe I like some things. So, first one, the one that made you fall in love with wrestling, The Rock.
The Rock was mine, and then like Jeff Hardy. I would say like if I were talking about like wrestling, it was Jeff Hardy. But I did like The Rock as a little girl at first, and then I moved on to like, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Because once I was able to watch it a little bit more consistently is when he left. He didn't leave. He left not that long afterwards. It was like The Mummy, and then it was like, oh, okay, like I don't care about you anymore.
See, I didn't really get to watch The Rock live week in and week out. I only had the VHS of him, and then obviously once the internet became a thing. But like it just, I don't know.
And The Mummy
everything about him.
Oh wow, The Mummy came out in
2002.
He wasn't in The Mummy. He was in The Scorpion King.
Scorpion King, thank you. That was what it was.
Scorpion King. Okay, because I was gonna say I did not watch him The Mummy. I want to see when it came out. The Scorpion King came out in 2002. Yeah, so yeah, he was like already like on the outs when I was able to watch a little bit more.
Newest favorite wrestler?
I said Dominic Mysterio.
Okay,
I think he's mine. Just because like if I'm thinking about somebody that I like am super excited about or like whatever, I would say over the past like few years it would be Dominic. Like I think he would be the newest one that I actually am like, oh, I would buy his merch or something, and I haven't yet. Like because the other ones that I would say are like newer, I've been fans of them longer than Dominic. So
I'm gonna go Braun Breaker. Oh, Stephanie, no, Braun Breaker.
Yeah,
that
Stephanie
dude's a monster.
Vacare, and also his would be Cena and Becky for who. Oh, for GOAT, I think for GOAT.
For GOAT, yeah, it was GOAT.
Yeah.
The one that always makes you smile.
Oh yeah, I said Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly always make me smile. So I like just thinking about them. I'm like, oh, I love them so much. So,
see, mine's Sami Zayn.
Yeah, no, Sami Zayn annoys the shit out of me.
No, every time it's Sami Zayn, I'm just like, yeah. And the let's go. It's Sami Zayn, 100%.
Yeah, no, for me it's
Yes, boy!
Yes, boy!
Yes, boy!
Yes, boy!
Yes, boy!
Comfort wrestler.
like, oh, let's do another, we want to do a few poses or whatever. For the third one, they were like, Elton was like, okay, so if you were with Pretty Deadly right now, like, what would you want to, like, what pose would you want to do? And I just, like, in my head, it didn't register until afterwards. And I'm like, wait, I was with Pretty Deadly right then, though. Like, what do you mean if you were
Yeah.
with?
So what do you want to do right now?
Yeah.
They're
so
incredible. Who's your comfort wrestler?
John Cena.
Yeah, I would go Kevin Owens.
Yeah, John Cena for me.
I could watch Kevin Owens.
I know that it's John Cena when I'm sitting there actively rooting against Cody Rhodes. That's when I'm like, okay, John Cena's like, that's just my guy. So
The one you miss the most?
Eddie and Scott Hall.
Bray.
Oh, and
Wyatt,
Bray. Yeah,
easily.
Bray's a good one. Yeah.
Easily is the Bray
Yeah.
for me. The one you'd protect with your whole life.
Oh, I said Cody Rhodes. I go to bat for him. I hate The Rock because of him. Like
Mick Foley. If
mm,
anyone ever trashes Mick Foley, I will go to war for Mick Foley. That him or Triple H.
I think Triple H has earned some
I'd
not
go to
so
bat for
favorable
Triple
things.
H. I know he has, but what he's done, he saved. He saved.
Well, if you talk about him as a wrestler, then sure.
He still did, even when he was a wrestler. One you're rooting for the most, Javon Evans. I want to see him be world champion.
My answers are like I couldn't come up with ones that like I really like that were not necessarily already established. Because like I don't know if that was the question of like, oh, you're gonna pick somebody who's like in developmental. No, the ones that I root for the most are Gunther, and everybody knows that because I will talk my shit when I don't like what's going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
Fergie Ferg, because I feel like he should have been way bigger than what he is. But then I also said Seth Rollins because I always want Seth to be doing like the most that he possibly could do, and like he was just dealt such a terrible card to be in the company at the same time as Roman Reigns and being forced to take a back seat to him because of it. So I always root for him to be like doing something bigger,
Yeah.
We have people answering
Chelsea
in the
Green.
chat, by the way. Yeah. That's a good one.
Eddie, Smile. Roxanne Perez when she turns it. Yeah. Any spot. And Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka is cool.
Yeah.
Sol
Yeah.
is cool.
Stephanie is gonna. I feel like Stephanie might be bigger than Julia in WWE.
Yeah, I think that might happen.
Like, it almost sucks to be Julia. Like,
So marketable. That's why.
You know what?
Marketable.
You know what they could end up being is like they could end up being the female version of Cena and Orton.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're both top people, but maybe one leans heel more, or they're always kind of like on opposite shows, but like they're going to be at the top. Or it could also be a situation of Stephanie is Roman Reigns and Julia is Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? Where it's like one is still like a little bit above the other, but you know what I mean? I do think that they're both equally talented, so I don't think it's necessarily the same as Roman Reigns and Seth, because I would argue that Seth is more talented than Roman, but they could be like the modern era women version of Randy and Cena. I could see that.
I could see that too.
And I would be a Stephanie girl. I like Julia, but
no, Stephanie Vacor has my heart.
Yeah.
Tiene mi corazón.
I like her shirt too. Like she's one that I'm considering getting that shirt.
Her music.
The first women's shirt I ever got.
That would be. Oh, right. I have a Becky Lynch lemon shirt.
I know. It's just because a lot of the time the women's merch has always been bad. Like when I was younger, it was the Divas era, Or even before that, it was like the women didn't get shirts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the only thing you could buy of like Trish Stratus was like her bikini photo. You know, like they didn't have merch for the women besides their
100%.
calendars.
You didn't want to wear. You didn't want to wear a 100% Stratisfaction shirt.
I mean, that's not that bad, but still, you know, like. But then once it was the Diva era, it was like all of the shirts. It was just like a pretty photo of them, or it was like them with butterflies. You know, it was like I didn't want that. So the merch has definitely come a long way, but I still think some of the women's stuff is just not that cute. So it's like, because I think they're like teetering on the line of like being a wrestling shirt that is, I don't know, like nice to everybody, but also trying to be feminine. So it's like a little bit different, but it's like, even as a woman, I don't want a super feminine shirt for like Becky Lynch. Like Becky doesn't scream like Tiffy time to me, you know? Like if it was a super girly shirt for Tiffany, that makes sense. But yeah.
That's all we got for you guys today. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. I'm going to go watch SmackDown right now and go make a pizza. A Paul Newman pizza, Sarah. I am so thrilled. So excited. And yeah, that's all we got for you guys. Thank you guys. Oh, no, we have Sunday. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I'm so sorry. My body clock is still adjusting from the trip because I landed and still had to work for a week and only have had one day off and still not. So, but whatever. Yeah. I'm rambling now. Royal rambling here. So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and when we post. Follow us on TikTok at No Nights Off Show. Follow us on Twitter or X at Patty Pitts and at SMarshXO. Instagram at Patty Pitts as well. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try.